we go, losing self-control.
Hey guys, this is Eliza from Dusk Angel Reads, and today I'll be talking about all the books I plan to read for the Magical ReadAthon NEWTs edition.
Become strangers on the run.
So the Magical ReadAthon this time is going for the entirety of August, so for that reason I will not be having a August TBR, because between this TBR and the TBR I've already posted for Booktopia, that is all the books that I will be reading for August, or plan to read. So this will be my TBR. I'm not going to post a separate video listing all these exact same books. So just watch my Booktopia TBR and this video, and that's my TBR. So first off, if you didn't know, the Magical ReadAthon is held by Book Roast here on YouTube. I'll leave a link to her video down below. A couple months ago we did our OWLS exams, and now we are moving on to our NEWTs exams. If you didn't know, OWLS and NEWTs are exams that happen at Hogwarts, so in the Harry Potter world. So when we participated in OWLS, all the subjects that we completed for OWLS, you can then move on to for NEWTs. So you can't complete a NEWTs challenge if you didn't complete that one in your OWLS a couple months ago. The subjects I completed during my OWLS is Arithmancy, Care of Magical Creatures, Charms, Divinations, Potions, and Transfiguration. That is a mouthful. For this round, each subject will have 3 challenges, and those 3 challenges involve the 3 pass grades that you can get at Hogwarts for your OWLS and your NEWTs. So those are acceptable, exceeds expectations, and outstanding. So each subject has those 3 challenges, which are how you get those specific grades. The one catch is that you cannot do an exceeds expectation challenge before you have completed the acceptable challenge, or the outstanding before you've completed the first 2. So you've got to do them in order. So you've got to work your way from acceptable to exceeds expectations to outstanding. So that made it a little difficult. I've actually had to write a list of exactly what books I have to read when, because I've put sequels in different subjects, and I just had to get them right. So that way they're all, the series are read in the correct order, and also it's read in the correct order to complete the Magical ReadAthon. So I have an exact list of what book I have to read in what order. Also, if you want to know the other challenges for any of the other subjects, the ones I didn't complete, you can have a look at her video, and she'll talk about every single challenge there is. But I'm just talking about the ones for the subjects that I completed during my OWLS. So yeah, I'll just jump into all the challenges for each of the subjects and all the books I plan to be reading. Okay, so first I'll talk about Arithmancy, and the acceptable grade challenge for Arithmancy is book of at least 300 pages. And yes, I'll be reading off my phone because this is a lot to remember and think about, and I'm half asleep right now. It's just, and I also can't talk at the moment. I keep fucking up my words, so I'm just gonna read off my phone, okay? Don't judge me. So for that challenge, I will be reading The Mystery of the 3 Quarters by Sophie Hannah. This is a book that I got from Edelweiss, I don't know how to pronounce it. It's basically like another website that's kind of like NetGalley but is impossible to get books off of. And this is the only book that I've ever been accepted for off that website. And it's not even a book that I'm like 100% keen to read. The reason I'm reading this book is because this is like, someone has taken Hercule Poirot from Agatha Christie and continued writing. So it's like Hercule Poirot stories, but not actually written by Agatha Christie, and I'm curious, as I love Hercule Poirot and I love Agatha Christie's books, so I'm curious to see what this author is going to do. If this is actually the second one, I think. I don't believe you have to read them in order, the same as you do like with the rest of the Hercule Poirot series, like the real series. So I'm just going to read this one. If it's horrible, I'll never touch one ever again. Actually, I'll probably never touch one ever again either. I'm just curious, okay? I'm curious, and this book has over 300 pages and I need to read it, so yeah, I don't know how I'm gonna feel about this book. And I also do have like a couple options for any of the books if they are ones that I choose to DNF. Lately I've been DNFing more than usual because I'm just like, I could not be bothered pushing myself through a book if I'm not enjoying it, especially considering just coming out of a reading slump. I don't want to force myself to read a book that I don't like and possibly get back in that reading slump. So I do have some other options for some of these challenges, but I won't mention them. But you'll see it all in my reading vlogs, which will be happening for the entire month of August. Okay, moving on. So for the exceeds expectations grade for Arithmancy, the challenge is a book that ends in an even number, And for this one, I have chosen Abortion by Garth Nix. You'll notice that some of these series aren't in order as I'm saying them. Obviously I'll read them in order, but this is the third book in the Abortion series by Garth Nix. The outstanding challenge for Arithmancy is a book that is not a first in a series. And for this one, I am choosing to read The Queens of Fenburn by Kendall Blake. This is a novella, so it is not the first in the series. I believe one of these, I don't know if both of these happened before the events of the book. Okay, yes, they do. So one of them was like years before, and then the other one is the story of the three girls before they get split up. So it isn't the first in a series, it is like 0.5 in a series. So I'm counting it, and it's like really short, as it's like only 2 short stories and it's novella. So, and I wanted to throw some physical books in there, as I have been getting back into physical reading coming out of the slump, so I didn't want all audiobooks. So I decided to choose this one. Okay, so moving on to Care of Magical Creatures. The first challenge for the acceptable grade is a book with an animal on the cover. For this one, I'm choosing Dragon Rider by Cornelia Funk. My mum actually read this. She found it in a secondhand store and she read it and she really enjoyed it. So I decided to try this one, and the audiobook is unscribed and it has a dragon on the cover. So covers a challenge. The Exceeds Expectations challenge for Care of Magical Creatures is a book that is under 160 pages. For this one, I'm choosing Sparks Rise by Alexandra Bracken, and this is a novella that comes between The Darkest Minds and Never Fade in the Darkest Minds trilogy. Wait, no. No, it comes between Never Fade and In the Afterlight. It's confusing. But yeah, it comes between those two books, and it is under 160 pages, as it is only a single novella. The outstanding challenge for Care of Magical Creatures is includes dragons in any way. So for this one, I am possibly choosing The Dragonette Prophecy by Tui T. Sutherland. However, this is also on my Booktopia TBR, and it involves a coin toss, so there's this one and one other book. So if this book doesn't come out, then I'll read it for Magical Readathon. If it does come out, I will read its sequel for Magical Readathon. But it'll be something in this series by Tui T. Sutherland. So we'll just see what happens. Okay, next we'll move on to Charms, and the challenge for the acceptable grade for Charms is read a book with magic in it. And for this one, I'm choosing The Silver Mask by Cassandra Clare and Holly Black, which is the 4th book in the Magisterium series. Wrong word. The Magisterium series. And this book has magic. That's yeah, it covers a challenge. The Exceeds Expectations challenge for Charms is a book with a cover that charmed you. So just a book with a beautiful cover. And for this one I chose... Okay, instead of the one I was planning on reading, I'm actually going to read The Dragon with the Chocolate Heart by Stephanie Burgess, as it has a really pretty cover and I need to read it anyway. So I changed and I'm going to read that one instead. Okay, the outstanding challenge for Charms is a book that you think will leave a mark. And for this one I'm choosing Monday's Not Coming by Tiffany D. Jackson. I haven't heard exactly what this book is about, besides there's some mystery, but it sounds like, from what other people have said, it sounds like it might be impactful, so that's the one I chose. That's basically the only book that I have that I can access that might be like for that challenge, so I'm just going with that. I won't actually know obviously until I read it, but we'll just see what happens. Next we'll move on to Divination, and the acceptable challenge for Divination is a book set in the future, and for this one I will be reading Ready Player One by Ernest Cline. I'm not actually sure when this book is set, I don't remember, but I know it's in the future somewhere. It's the year 2044, so set in the future. And these two are the only 2 physical books I own. But I will be listening to Ready Player One on an audiobook though. But those are the only 2 I own. Everything else is unscribed or I have an ebook of. The Exceeds Expectations challenge for Divination is a book under 200 pages. And for this one I am choosing Beyond the Night by Alexandra Bracken, which is a novella that comes after In the Afterlight and before The Darkest Legacy, which will be the book 4 of the Darkest Mind series. And it's a novella, it's short, it's under 200 pages. The outstanding challenge for Divination is read a book with mythology, and for this one I'm choosing The Serpent's Shadow by Rick Riordan, which is the 3rd book in the Red Pyramid, is that what it's called? No, the Canaan, I can't remember what the actual series is called, but anyway, but it's Rick Riordan's book that isn't set in the Percy Jackson world. It's the only one. But yeah, I'll be reading that entire series. I'll talk about that a bit later, but it's the third book and it has mythology in it. So the next subject is potions, and the acceptable challenge for potions is has a name of a colour in the title. And for this one, I am choosing The Red Pyramid, which is the first book in that Canaan series. I can't remember what the series name is called, but anyway, by Rick Riordan, and obviously it has the word red in the title, so there we go. The Exceeds Expectations challenge for potions is read a book with a male lead character. For this one, I am choosing The Throne of Fire by Rick Riordan, which is the second book in that series I just spoke about, and it has a male main character. The outstanding challenge for potions is read a book over 350 pages, and for this one I am choosing The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. Everyone has been talking about this, and it's also one of the books of the month for TBR and Beyond, the Facebook group, so I decided I need to pick it up, and it's over 350 pages, so it works. Last subject we have is Transfiguration, and the acceptable challenge for Transfiguration is a book with a grey cover. For this one I am chosen Sabriel by Garth Nix, which is the first book in the Abortion series, and the new covers have grey backgrounds. The Exceeds Expectation challenge for Transfiguration is read a book from an author you haven't read anything of before. And for this one I am choosing The Girl Who Drank the Moon by Kelly Barnhill. This is one of the books that I have on Otto. If you don't know, I've spoken about Otto before. It's a subscription that is similar to Scribe, but I don't like it. Otto has actually just changed their name from Otto to HiBooks, so there's that. But we'll see if the app itself improves, because one of the main reasons I don't like Otto is the functionality of the app. It's hopeless, and also it has a very minimal range of books. It's like worse than my library. So I want to quickly read the few books that I have on there and cancel my subscription. This is one of them, so I decided to put on here as it's an author I've never read from before. And the last book for the outstanding challenge for Transfiguration is read a book that is set in a kingdom or has royals. And for this one I am choosing Lyriel by Garth Nix, which is the second book in the Abortion series. And I'm pretty sure literally the first sentence of the synopsis for Lyriel said something about kingdoms. Let me have a look. Okay, it's actually the synopsis for Sabriel, the first book, that has the word kingdoms in it. The first sentence of the synopsis is sent to a boarding school in some place that I'm not even going to try and pronounce. As a young child, Sabriel has had little experience with the random power of free magic or the dead who refuse to stay dead in the old kingdom. So, kingdom, it fits this challenge. I'm going to read it. So that is all the books that I plan to read for Magical Readathon. As I said earlier, I will be vlogging the entire Magical Readathon. I think I'm going to do it in half weeks. So I'll just do like week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, but each week will be split in 2. So each vlog will be like 3.5 days around about. We'll just see what happens, but I just don't want to make them extremely long. So yeah, that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, make sure you give it a like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.